I have two delicious fall dessert recipes to share. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm showing you two easy fall dessert recipes. These are all apple desserts, and I really think you're gonna love them. Now let's go ahead and get started. This first one is a caramel apple pie poke cake. To begin, I added a 21-ounce can of caramel apple pie filling. I stuck my knife down into the can there just to give them a rough chop. That way there weren't no huge pieces of apple in the cake. I added that into the bowl. And by the way, if you can't find the caramel apple pie filling, the regular apple pie filling will do just fine. That was 1/4 cup of milk I added in there, along with 2 eggs, and also a teaspoon of cinnamon and a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now I'm going to add in a box of yellow cake mix. But if you wanted to change it up, you could also do a spice cake mix or even a butter pecan cake mix. That would be really good. Now I'm just using my electric mixer to mix this until everything is well combined. And I'm going to make this cake in a 9 by 13 inch baking dish, and I've sprayed it with nonstick spray. I poured in that batter, then used my spatula to smooth it all out. Now this bakes at 350 for 25 to 35 minutes. And while the cake is in the oven, I'm going to work on the topping. In a small bowl, I'm adding a 12-ounce jar of caramel sauce, and I did reserve just a tiny bit to drizzle on the very top. Now to that caramel, I added a 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk. I wanted to make sure I got every last drop there. This stuff is pretty delicious. Now just gently stir it together until it's well combined. I sat that to the side while I grabbed the cake out of the oven. And you don't have to let this cool because you do still want it a little warm. You can use the end of a wooden spoon for this part, but I'm just using the attachment for my hand mixer. I poked holes all in the top of that cake. Now I'm pouring over that caramel sauce that we just made up. And I did spread it out with my spatula and try to work that caramel sauce down into those holes. I did let it sit for a minute to let that sauce sink on in. This is not in the recipe, but before I add the whipped topping, I decided to add on another can of apple pie filling. And I did chop that filling up a pretty good bit. Now over the top of that filling, I added about 1 cup of butterscotch chips. You could also use the caramel bits or the toffee bits for this. Now over the top of all that, I'm adding an 8-ounce container of Cool Whip topping. And gently spread that out to make sure you don't move anything around underneath. Now to finish off this delicious cake, I'm drizzling over that caramel sauce I reserved from earlier. And a few more of those butterscotch chips. And that's it. Now this cake is even better if you can let it chill overnight. But my family couldn't wait to dig into this. This is one of the best poke cakes I have ever had. And it would be perfect to make for Thanksgiving or Christmas or any time of the year. I think your family would really enjoy it. Now this next one is a new one and I just had to try it. It's apple pie enchiladas. I started off with a 21-ounce can of apple pie filling. I did chop those up with my knife, but you really don't have to do that for this recipe. I just like the apples in smaller pieces. I'm using an 11 by 7 baking dish for this, but you can also use a 9 by 13. You'll need 6 of the medium-sized tortillas, and I just went ahead and folded mine in half. I used my cookie scoop, and I scooped out about 1/4 cup of that apple pie filling. I placed it in the center there and kind of spread it out a little. Then I sprinkled on a little cinnamon, but you could also use apple pie spice. And now I'm just going to roll it up. And this is just how I roll my tortillas up. I kind of roll them halfway and then fold the ends in and then finish rolling it up. but as long as you get it rolled up, you're good. I placed it in the baking dish, then continued with the other 5 tortillas. Add the filling down, sprinkle on a little cinnamon, then roll it up and place it in the baking dish. Now that these are done, I'm going to set them to the side while I work on the sauce. In a medium-sized saucepan, I added in 1 stick of butter and let that start to melt. And to that, I added half a cup of granulated sugar and half a cup of brown sugar. I also added in 1 teaspoon of cinnamon and half a cup of water. Now you'll want to whisk this until everything is well combined, then bring it to a boil. I should have waited to the end to do this, but I went ahead and added in a splash of vanilla. Reduce the heat to a simmer while whisking continuously for about 3 minutes. Then remove it from the heat. Now back over to the counter, pour that sauce we just made up over those apple enchiladas. And you don't want to skip this next step. I covered this and let it sit out on the counter for at least 45 minutes. Those tortillas need a little time to absorb that sauce. And after 45 minutes, I placed them into a preheated 350-degree oven for about 20 minutes. These were so hot, and it would have been great if I could have been patient and let them cool off a bit. But I went ahead and made me a little plate. I topped them with vanilla ice cream and caramel sauce. And I'm so glad I tried this recipe. They were absolutely delicious. I really hope you enjoyed this video. You may also like this one. Don't forget to subscribe down below, and I will see you in the next one.